Welcome back, everybody, to the Gunzpicks channel for my college football win total showcase as we spotlight my guys. I'm wearing the hat for a reason. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, how I feel they're going to be doing this season, give you a little bit of an analysis and an outlook. And of course, I will give you my win total opinion on this one. First time on the channel, you need to subscribe to it because the sharpest information comes from the Gunzpicks channel. Also, we have a new channel that I have collaborated with some very sharp handicappers called Top Tier Handicapping Network. You can put that in your search engine on YouTube, or you can just go to X at Top Tier HN and go click the link in the bio and join the channel. A lot of information coming out of there. We're talking WNBA, MLB, college football previews, college football week 0 show coming this week, NFL, of course. And so there's a lot of information coming from this channel. The sharpest information. Also, there'll be some international plays and hockey too. There's going to be a lot of content coming off that channel, so you need to subscribe to Top Tier HN. I'm sorry, Top Tier Handicapping Network at Top Tier HN is what you the handle on X. And subscribe to the Gunzpicks channel as well, because content will never stop here. And live streams are going to be starting here pretty quickly on Saturday mornings with Gunzpicks and the crew, Mike DM and Connor Mack is going to be back on the show. So the trio of all trios for your morning coffee on college football. So yeah, join the Gunzpicks channel. A lot of content coming on this channel. So we're talking about Notre Dame. So looking at the aspect from 2023 to now, experience 101st in the country in experience, 35.6 percent of their offensive production is back, 55.6% of their defensive production is back. Starting with the offense, a lot of changes and overhaul of the offense. Of course, Sam Hartman going to the NFL, top running back Audric Estime, also jumping ship going to the NFL. And their top wide receiver last year was Chris Tyree. He's gone, transferred to Virginia. So what does this Notre Dame team do? They go to the transfer portal. They pick up a nice little quarterback, a guy named Riley Leonard. If you don't know who he is, he was the quarterback for Duke for many years. Didn't have the best season in 2022, but was absolutely electric for that Duke Blue Devil team in 2021. He's also recovering from an ankle injury that happened, ironically, against Notre Dame. And we'll see how the health of his ankle is going to be. It looks like he's going to be the starter here in week 1 versus Texas A&M. But I'm not too concerned about this injury because I think you think he's healthy, and two, if something does drastically happen, I think they are pretty set in the quarterback position. They have some veterans in there like Angeli. Minchie is also a nice little addition there. And also they have a nice little top highly touted recruit in CJ Carr in the waiting. I think they're redshirting him this year. I don't expect him to play, but he's supposed to be the up and comer to take the quarterback position, maybe after Riley leaves. We'll have to see about that. Also, looking at the running back position, too, Estime, of course, electric for that offense last season, but they have a couple good running backs to complement what Audric Estime left with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, 1-2 punch. And you saw a sample of that in January in the Sun Bowl. Where Estime opted out of that bowl game, but those two stepped up and played an absolute game. Both weapons are a little bit more dynamic in the passing game. Audric was kind of a north and south power runner. With Love and Price back there, I think that production is going to be okay, maybe even better than it was last year. And the wide receiver position has always been kind of a weakness for Notre Dame. Of course, they had to fire the wide receiver coach. He's gone, and about 75% of the wide receiver locker room is gone as well. So what does Notre Dame do? They dip into the transfer portal once again, getting a 1,000-yard receiver from FIU, Chris Mitchell. I think he's going to be an absolute crutch and a weapon there for Riley Leonard. Very great hands, good speed, cut routes. On an FIU team that was absolutely abysmal. He was kind of the bright star on that squad. Also, they get Clemson wide receiver Bo Collins. had a little bit of the dropsies with that team. He needs to get back to where he was a highly touted recruit. We'll see if it works out there with Notre Dame. Also, they get Jaden Harrison from Marshall, who's a speedster, a deep threat, and also a great kick returner, punt returner. I think you're going to see him in the backfield in special teams, not only on the offensive side, but in special teams as well. They also get Tyler Buckner. If you remember Tyler Buckner was a former quarterback for Notre Dame, loses his job. Actually had a pretty good bowl game against South Carolina a few years back. Jump ship, goes to Bama, and has 1 year there. Didn't really play that much. I think he played in one game where he was the actual starter. Didn't do well there. Came back to Notre Dame to go play lacrosse. Now he's back on the Notre Dame football squad, but not as a quarterback. They're actually going to move him to the wide receiver position. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they're going to utilize him in that offense. Also, they have another great tight end. Tight end U is what Notre Dame is. Great offensive lineman, great tight ends. Mitchell Evans, their top receiver last year, back again. I think he's going to have a very strong year. And of course, Notre Dame just produces the best of the best tight ends in the country. Last year, the Notre Dame offensive line was one of the best in the country. 5.3 yards per carry rate on the ground and only allowed 16 sacks as a unit. They're a little bit depleted this year, of course, losing some key starters. Two top offensive tackles go to the NFL, and their center goes to the portal and transfers out to go to NC State. And Joe Alt was a huge, top 5 pick, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they replace him. Of course, their offensive tackle that was supposed to replace Joe Alt went down with injury. Don't know what his timetable is, if he's going to be back. It doesn't look like he's going to be starting day one, but I'm not too worried about the offensive line. If there's something that you could always rely on with Notre Dame is producing good offensive line talent, and they just need a little bit of time to gel. Is it going to be a downgrade a little bit from last year? Of course it is, but I'm not too worried. I think this line is going to be just fine and provide the protection that Riley Leonard needs. The defensive side of the ball should be in good shape. 9 returning starters from that unit. 3 out of their 4 top returning tacklers is going to be back. 3 returning starters on the defensive line, and they add a nice little complement edge rusher, RJ Oben, who is a great pass rusher, very athletic from Duke. So their defensive line should be one of the best in the country. I think this defensive line is going to really create some problems for the quarterback. They have some great run stoppers as well. So I'm not too concerned about the defensive line one bit. Also, the defensive backs will be strong as well. Returning Bronco Nagurski, winner and first team All-American Xavier Watts. He led the country in interceptions last year. Decided to come back, could have went to the NFL, but he's back for his last year. So he's going to be an absolute weapon once again. Pass stopper for sure. He led the NCAA with 7 interceptions last year, and he was third on the team in tackles. So if you actually look at Phil Steele's ranking of this secondary, number 6 in the country, the secondary is. So defensively, with Marcus Freeman as a defensive-minded coach anyways, I don't think there's going to be any drop-off in this defense whatsoever. They're projected to allow 19.6 points per game this year, and their offense is projected to have 37.5 points per game on the offensive side. All better stats than 2023. So if the projection is, of course, the computers are telling you one thing, and you got to play it out, of course. They're telling that this Notre Dame team is better than last year. And I agree with that. They faced the 57th toughest schedule, only facing 3 true road games this season. A lot of neutral site games for this Notre Dame squad. They get Louisville at home. That's a super revenge game. Of course, if you remember last season on the road at Louisville, they lost that game, and that came off that close game versus Duke. They got a tough challenge in week 1, going to College Station, going to play A&M, and they got FSU at home and USC as their toughest games on the schedule. So really, they're if you consider Louisville tough, I think they lost too much on the offensive side to make them as tough as they were last year. FSU is a big question mark with DJ Uiagalelei. I think they're going to step down. Jordan Travis was a much better quarterback than DJ Uiagalelei. And then A&M, You got Mike Elko over there running the team. He has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder revenge situation, almost beating Notre Dame last year at Duke, and he may, with a better team, have that chip on his shoulder to go beat him again. But we'll have to see about that. That will be their toughest game in the schedule, in my opinion, and maybe the end of the year if USC is really going to be good. I don't know without Caleb Williams, but playing at USC, they typically don't, at least don't cover those games. So we'll have to see. This is going to be last game of the year, and we'll know who this Notre Dame team is. So really, every other game on the schedule is not going to be tough at all. Those are the four. And you're seeing the win total here sitting at 10. I think that is as sharp as it gets. But if I'm going to take one, if they come out of Texas A&M and they win that first game, it's going to give me a high indicator that you're probably not going to see a lot of losses with this Notre Dame team. They, like I said, they get Louisville and FSU at home, and at USC at the end of the year, so they could win all the way out to that USC game, and that will get you over the win total. So the win total is 10. I think they're going to go over this win total just on the sure basis that one, I think they got better on both sides of the ball. A lot of returning guys on the defensive side, not so much on the offensive side, but they made the adjustments and got some really key good athletes on this one. So I think over 10 wins, that's probably the way I would go with this one with Notre Dame. Unbiased, by the way. I know I'm a fan, but look at their schedule. I think they got, as far as all the teams that are the contenders of the college football playoff, I think Notre Dame's got the lightest schedule out of all of them. So, yeah, over 10 wins there with Notre Dame is the way I would go with this one. But that's going to do it for the college football win total showcase. Check back here, like and subscribe to the Gunzpicks channel, of course, and also check out Top Tier HN on X and get into the YouTube and subscribe to that channel as well. I will be putting an MLB play for Monday on that channel, so that's where it's going to be. And follow me on all social media platforms at Gunzpicks, X, Instagram, and TikTok. So good luck. Let's have ourselves a college football season. Let's dominate. And as always, let's keep dancing.